Hello everybody, I'm Wolf8207 of the Howling Den. This is an isolated instance review of Sheltered for the PS4. And I'm saying this in movie voice because it's awesome. And because I can. This game is about $14.99 for whoever's thinking about trying to pick it up. And it is on Steam, and it is also on the PS4. Today, I believe I already mentioned, we're going to be checking out the PS4. I'm going to be starting off on a new save file since I've already kind of played quite a bit, as you can see in these other two save slots, with two different things. Alright. Essentially, Shelter is about you taking your family to a bomb shelter to essentially get away from the ravages of a nuclear. I'm assuming it's nuclear. It's not necessarily implied what it is, but it's something that essentially happens that like takes down a whole bunch of things, and a lot of people are just. It's pretty bad. So this is essentially you trying to survive with your family, and you're trying to live and like continue onwards. As you can see, you got a lot of different things here. You got a lot of choices here. You got a lot of options that you can choose from. Me personally, I just like to kind of hit random and then end up figuring what I need to fill in after these first couple of guys. Like, okay, sounds good. Then I can figure out who I need to fill in. Like, okay, if that person was like very good with a good upbringing, then of course I'm going to need someone to fill in their gaps with dexterity and strength. So it's very basic stuff if you ever kind of run into this with party balancing and stuff like that. It's not really very surprising to a lot of people. So let me see what we got here. Yep, that'll work. Now you have essentially two parents and two kids. The entire game is kind of based around you keeping them alive. Like, that's the entire game, is you have to keep your family alive. Like, some of your family can die, but if all of them die, it's game. You lose. So it's very much a balancing act that has to happen here. Now, something I personally like, which I think is kind of cool, is that in addition to your little family unit, which you can name whatever you want. Is that the Cheney family? Okay, anything but the Cheney family. You can name them anything. Rain's fine. Yeah, you get to choose pets alongside this, which I think is personally pretty cool. There's not a lot of games that actually flat out say, here, you can choose your little animal sidekick to go with you. There's the horse, which it can actually, like, carry stuff. There's the dog, which can actually help you fight. There's the cat, which is completely OP, and it's probably one of the best options you could ever pick. There's the fish that pretty much does nothing but is needed for one little small thing in the game, which also happens to be a trophy, which we'll get into later. And then there's the snake, which is terrible. So, I didn't want to select the tutorial. Anyway. Yeah, tutorial's horrible. I hate this. Alright. So, essentially, in this game, this is your entire objective. You gotta essentially survive in this post-apocalyptic wasteland. As you can see right here, it does not necessarily explain a whole lot. It just says, oh yeah, hey, look, you can look around with your stuff and zoom in and out, and yeah. yeah, there's problems with this game. And we're going to get into a lot of stuff real soon here. As soon as you get past the very long and annoying tutorial sequence. And it is long and annoying. Because you can't necessarily skip past any of this. You can't necessarily move past any of this. It's like, oh yeah, fixing things. Fixing things in this game. Oh my word, you're going to be spending 95% of the time literally fixing stuff and wondering how it breaks down so freaking fast. You're going to be like, what the heck? Why is this thing breaking down so fast? But anyway, that's not kind of what I wanted to talk about. I kind of wanted to get... come on. Can I just move on with the game now, please? Oh, okay. I can accelerate time. Alright. Yeah. So, as you can see, that's the entire thing the game explains to you. It explains to you what the red things mean. It explains to you essentially how to survive. And then that's it. It does pop up with a little bit of stuff, as you can see right here. But this is all very, very, very basic stuff. If you ever played RPG before, if you ever played sort of a survival game before, then yeah, this isn't very shocking or surprising. It's gonna totally take you by like complete by surprise. You're like, I wasn't ready for it. No, you were definitely ready for it because it's the same stuff that's literally in every other game. As you can see right here, you got a little clipboard, which is really nice, and I kind of like the little clipboard because it actually keeps all the little stuff right here. Keeps all that you need to repair nice and available to you. However, one thing I do not like is that you essentially have to constantly be moving. You have to move very, very fast in this game. The idea that you're going to kind of stay still and be very, very, very still with it. No, you're not going to be staying still for any amount of time. You're actually going to be moving quite aggressively at all times. You're going to be constantly trying to figure out what you need to fix, what's going on over here. There are very few moments that can actually sit down, enjoy everything, relax, not have to worry. Because there's always something to worry about, like storage space, or pantry space, or water space, or whether or not you have enough bandages, or whether or not they need to sleep or not, or yeah. Also, pro tip, probably one of the best things to do is activate their little robot symbols. That way they actually have some agency in themselves, and they can actually go over there, they can drink some stuff, they can get some water if they need to, they can eat food when they feel hungry. Almost a complete requirement that you do this. I've of course done this at least 2 to 3 times before, so this is all very easy for me to do. So while we kind of got past all this, let's kind of get into what I like about the game. What I like about the game is that this doesn't feel like it's holding your hand constantly. It feels like you're actually trying to survive in this wasteland. That you got limited resources at the very start. This is the map that you have to work with. You got to get your family essentially okay, fed. Everything's going to be working out fine for them. You don't have a lot to... You literally have to scrounge up from almost nothing here. Because 14 on water, that's going to go by real fast. All the other stuff like, oh, you can rearrange shelf. No. All this stuff right here is really, 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 really difficult to work with what it is right now. Let me see here. And it literally is as simple as you learn what to do with what you have early on. You learn that, okay, yes, I can set up things with traders. Or, okay, yes, I can actually sit over there and, oh, yeah, there we go. I can actually set up decent beds. Or, okay, nobody in their right mind should ever freaking choose a bucket toilet because the bucket toilet is horrible. You know, it's simple things that you end up learning and you end up overcoming over time. And it's a very, very, very much of a requirement that you end up doing that you end up learning what you need to do next. And it's a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of error that's going to happen. I mean, a lot of error that's going to happen. Like, if you think that you're not going to screw up, then 9 times out of 10, you already have screwed up in this game. By the time you think, oh, well, that totally isn't going to happen to me, it's pretty much already happened to you. And that's essentially how the game works. Is the game doesn't really punish you. It's not nearly as punishing as some things like, I would say, State of Decay is actually a little bit more punishing than this game sometimes. Yeah. There you go. Nice and clean. State of Decay is a little bit more punishing than this game. In this game, there's a little bit easier of a curve to it. And as soon as I am able, I'm going to show you guys exactly with an expedition here. Yeah, what about... No, not yet. Okay. As you can see, I can kind of accelerate time here. That's a very, very, very important mechanic. Because despite how much that you literally have to do every 5 seconds, you will end up having to, like, spend a lot of time, like, accelerating time and actually spending a lot of time that isn't necessarily focused entirely on, ooh, wait, people passed. Oh, thank God, rain. You're going to be spending a lot of time waiting for that. Rain is arguably one of the most important things early game. If you think, oh, rain doesn't matter that much, then you've never played Shelter. Rain is the most important thing that's good. Rain and water. Rain and water are arguably the most important things in this game. Because you need water in order to actually go out and set up expeditions. As you can see right here, it all comes down to a matter of what I can do with the water I have. And since it's raining, oh, I might be able to now. I could go right there, and it is very close. Can I make it? I definitely could. And then on the way back, I just hit that, and I'm good. And this is essentially the crux of the game right here. What I'm doing right here, I'm deciding whether or not I'm going to go out there, kind of get a little bit greedy with it, use up the water I have right now, knowing that it's going to get replenished. Or do I essentially, like, conserve the water because I'm not sure when the rain's going to stop. This is the meat of the game. And it's decisions like this that I love, that I really like. Because whenever you screw up, and you inevitably will screw up, make no mistake on that, you're going to screw up hard. It's going to all of a sudden stop raining, or you're going to be stuck with, like, barely a couple of water things, praying to God that your exposition will come back with something. They never will. They'll never come back with what you need at the time. You're going to be sitting over there crying out, come on, I just need a break. And honestly, a survival game that does that really well are few and far between. You rarely find any survival games that really sell this concept this well. Most survival games are just like, oh yeah, we give you the tools to do it, and we'll give you plenty of leeway to screw up. This game's kind of like, if you screw up, it will be because you screwed up, not because the RNG screwed you. This isn't because some system was designed to screw you over, and now you are. Now you're sitting over there screaming at the system because it's not fair. It's not like that at all. Instead, it's more like, oh, well, you screwed the pooch. That was on you. See, like, right there. Now I've only got 18 water. I just built up another jug because I was like, you know what? I might be able to get away with a little bit more. Nope. And while it does explain certain things, like, it explains a lot of things, there's a lot that's not communicated. This is where it comes into the bit of the problems I have with the game. Is a lot of the stuff here, essentially, that I was doing, was not communicated. It was not immediately communicated that I had to go fix that water faucet because it's already at 50% whenever I first start off the game. And it does that every time. Or that the oxygen filter will be damaged. Or that the generator will be damaged. Or that certain other things will be damaged when I first start the game. It's not explicitly telling you that. And you figure that out through trial and error, but the game can make that more readily apparent. Like whenever it starts to drop below 50, that it's fixing to actually kind of fall down. It's kind of useful to know some stuff like that, but the game kind of it acts like it's playing it and it's keeping it to a secret. Which I personally do not enjoy about this game. It's one of the few things I really don't enjoy. In addition to this, like, church, could you at least show me a map? Instead of, like, showing me some screen right here, show me where you're actually going, so I have a general sense of where you're stopping off now. Just little things that would help communicate a lot more information. Because now, here's the funny part. They were talking about that church. Now, I could easily have said, oh, did it mean they're going over here? Did it mean they're going over here? How about over here? How about over there? How about over there? How about over there? How about over there? Are they going to go over there? And it doesn't explain to you that literally that's what the waypoints are for. Like, it does not explain that to you at all, that that's what the waypoints are for. Like, if you actually look at the explanations on the screen, it's just kind of like, oh, well, there are certain things that, yeah, no, it doesn't explain it. What I do think it also can be kind of bad, too, is that oftentimes you're a little bit kind of at the mercy of the RNG of the map. Not so much that you're completely screwed over, but some maps make it significantly harder. Some maps make it significantly easier. One of the maps that I nearly got almost 100 days on, I literally got like maybe 2 towns, and it's completely surrounded by like mountains and forests, and it's got very few check marks. Like, actually no, 3 towns. There are 3 towns, and that's it. Right here, you can literally count it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 5 towns. Just from like what we're looking at initially, that is significantly different. The difference between 3 and 5 can be literally massive. Like, it can be the difference on whether or not you're assembling that RV up there in the corner, or if you're actually going to be able to survive certain things. And the RNG does do okay with putting like some locations immediately near you, so you can immediately go out if you want to. With some aggressive players end up doing that, and then kind of hoping for rainfall to come, because in the first couple of days rainfall usually does come. But literally that feeds into the you gotta know it sort of thing. It doesn't really explain it to you. The tutorial, as you saw, just kind of gives you a rough understanding of what you really need to do. Then it's like, oh, well, it's time to go out into the wasteland. Okay, how do I do that? What do I do when I get out there? Does it explain that I absolutely, unequivocally need a gas mask? Does it explain that I need to literally go out and build carrier bags, and I'll probably need weapons of some sort because there's a lot of crazy bastards out here? No, it doesn't really explain that at all. And that is kind of the problem I have with this entire game, is that it explains oh so very little. And a lot of people actually would have a problem with the graphical things like this, where like, oh well, it's essentially just like graphics, like it's not very impressive at all. And it's not, and I can't really defend it at all. It's not impressive, it's not going to be groundbreaking, it's nowhere close to something like Pyre, and for it to only be $5 off from something like Pyre is kind of shocking in terms of price. But that being said, it's still kind of fun. With all this stuff being said about the problems it has, the fact also that I didn't touch up on is that you could only take 2 people out. Like 2 people per party. So you can send out multiple parties, but if there's an encounter, only that party will be handling that counter. Doesn't matter if the other guys are with them or not. And I don't personally like that. Because your enemies can sometimes have more than 2 people. Matter of fact, if you actually get the screenshots, they're going to be up to 4 people on the enemy side. Which I just don't like. I don't like that at all. I don't like that whenever it's that imbalanced. But that's my own personal feelings about it in terms of that. Like, it's not anything that's going to be completely completely game breaking for a lot of people. And if you can get past the graphics, if you can get past the fact that you're not necessarily going out there like RPG style, like taking a party out there and then having everything back at base kind of like operate on its own, that instead it's the other way around where you're sending stuff out there, it's operating on its own, you're sitting over here managing things at base, and that honestly the stuff at base can be overwhelming really quickly. And there are a lot of instances in which I kind of wish the AI was developed enough to really understand, okay, well, I can like go over there and fix certain things. So yeah, it just kind of stands there. It doesn't really do anything. There are plenty of stuff that it probably could be doing. Like really pointless stuff like clean the base or do other things or go build something, or I mean, there would be an easy way to work around that by just developing sort of like a chore list sort of thing, where literally the AI is just like, okay, well, there's a list of chores and there's a list of queued stuff that I gotta go handle, and assuming that it'd be really simple if they just had sort of like a chore system where it'd be like, okay, the it's gonna go over there and fix the generator, and it's gonna fix the oxygen filters, and there's like a dedicated repairman that just sort of runs back and forth and fixes stuff. And then whenever his stuff gets over to red, then the AI takes over and it goes and eats or drinks something so it doesn't die. That makes sense. That would make sense to me. It would make sense to everybody else, especially if you activated an auto. And the problem is that this game is not very well developed in that. And on that note is that also this game is not updated nearly up to Steam yet. Like the version that's on Steam right now of Sheltered is actually more updated than this game. And that is a bit of a problem. And the problem is that really kind of sucks. Because I don't really want to talk to any of them. I might. The problem is that sucks that this version is the inferior version. And I do kind of like this mechanic as well. You can actually select who you actually talk to the other guy. And then they can decide what they want to sit over there and say. Bully people. You can like steal stuff and knock out people and not necessarily kill people. There's a lot of different ways to actually handle interaction, usually, with somebody who's not outright hostile. Sometimes, whenever you run across somebody is outright hostile, or they're wild, slobbering beast, and you gotta handle them a variety of ways. And then there's this part where you gotta kind of figure out what you need and what you don't need and what you need to get rid of. And it's basically resource management, which is actually kind of nice. I like this. Not a lot of people actually would enjoy this sort of thing, and I could easily see why. I could easily see why if somebody didn't enjoy this game as much as I enjoy this game based off of what they see right here. The thing is that if you give this game a little bit of a chance, if you enjoy survival games and you enjoy that survival games are kind of how to put this, if you enjoyed survival games like State of Decay, for instance, but kind of wish that there was a bit more of a base management aspect, then this is probably the game for you. If you were playing a bunch of like survival games and you're just kind of tired about how much of less interaction there was, then this maybe isn't the game for you. And you can see both sides of the argument here. I could definitely see why somebody would not enjoy this game. Easily I could get why somebody wouldn't enjoy this game. It makes sense to me. But I really think people should just give this game a shot, give it a chance to kind of grow on you. Because if you do, then you might actually find out that this game's really, really decent. And it doesn't look like much, and it's kind of a management simulator. We're sitting over here micromanaging all this little stuff. You're worrying about all this little things over here, and then you have to worry about feeding your cat. You have to worry about fixing all this stuff like sleeping bags and generators and makeshift toilets. And you have to fix everything in this freaking house, it seems like. If you can get past all that, then what you're going to end up finding is that this game is really, really decent game. It's more than worth your time, in my personal opinion. But I'm kind of biased to this. I'm biased because I always have liked survival, sort of like post-apocalyptic survival games. I've always liked them. So, my recommendation is that for everybody else that does not like survival games where you're having to sit over there and scrounge out a bunch of other things, you're just having to survive as like a family unit and you're having to micromanage everything. If you guys don't enjoy that sort of thing, then I cannot recommend this game. However, if you do like this sort of thing, if you do like what you're seeing right here, and that this seems kind of interesting, like the whole survival aspect of having to worry about what you're actually going to do over here, what you're gonna eat, what your family's gonna eat, what they're gonna sit over there and do, what they're gonna have to do with this, and how they're gonna do this, and how they're gonna do that. If you enjoy stuff like this, if this is something you legitimately enjoy, then you're actually gonna have a lot of fun with it. I would say maybe wait till it goes on sale to at least $10 first. I don't think that there's $15 of content here. I just don't. Like, there's a lot of stuff I definitely got out of it. I definitely could have been playing this game for like 16 hours and I would have been perfectly okay with it. It's awesome. I love every minute of it. I'm not sitting over there saying that this game's bad at all. If anything, this game is awesome. But that being said, it is still very basic. It's not necessarily the most mind-blowing game that you're ever going to play. And for $5 more, you could easily throw $5 more and then go pick up something like Pyre, or go pick up something like Mountain Blade Warband. Especially if you weren't worried about graphics and stuff like that and you wanted something more action-oriented. So, yeah, this game's kind of got a limited audience. But, for what it is, it's a damn good game. And it's a game that I highly recommend. I'm Wolf80207, and I'll see you guys on the next Wolf80207 reviews.